And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to episode 192 of Player Life. It is Wednesday, the 10th of November here in Tokyo, Japan. Damn, it feels like a while since I did a live stream. Been kind of slacking, but it is what it is. I was supposed to go live yesterday, and something came up. Something came up, but yeah, here I am back at it. And today I want to talk about indicators of interest. Um, Indicators of interest and how important indicators of interest are, or if they are important at all. Um, yeah, but all is good. Before I get into that, all is good here in Tokyo. All is pretty damn good. Um, yeah, just been been killing it with the day game recently, as usual. But yeah, man, I've figured this day game thing out to pretty good. I have a pretty good system in place, to say the least. Yeah, so I don't know. I tell the guys it boils down to how much effort you put into it. Once you learn the basics, it's just like how much do you want to get laid? That's kind of how it boils down to. There are many other elements to it, but I mean there's a lot of elements to game, but even like there's logistics, there's you as a person, like what do you look like, how tall are you, how much do you earn, are you living in a convenient location? Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of cold hard truths about game. Um, I said it before. We're not all equal. We're not all the same. Like two guys doing the same thing. One might get completely different results. Like they're doing the same thing, approaching the same goals. One guy will get one guy will get good results, and the other guy will get no results because it could be the one guy is short, the other guy's tall, handsome. You know, it's just not all this like equal playing field. We're not all on the same level, and that's honestly why guys like me can help guys out because I can assess your situation, you know, decide what you need to do in order to level up your game. Because yeah, it's just this all this feel good bullshit. Like, oh yeah, you just apply apply these rules, and you're gonna get get tens. You're gonna approach these hot girls, and you're just gonna get their numbers, and then you're gonna bang them. No, it's like nature, female nature, reality is a lot harder than that. It's like you have to put in the work. You have to, depending on what you look like, depending on your level, there's going to be different things you're going to need to have to do in order to have success with women. You know, um, you could be a broke ass bum. Like you could be getting government assistance. You could be living in some little shack, um, and yeah, you could be broke ass, and you could still be getting with really hot girls if your game is fire. On the other hand, you could be very successful. You could be a successful lawyer earning $300,000 a year, and you could suck with women because your game sucks, and maybe you're short, and maybe you're kind of fat. You know, so it really depends. On the other hand, you could be tall, handsome, a really good looking guy, 6'2", jacked, chiseled jaw, and you could have some serious confidence issues and like absolutely suck with women because of your confidence issues. I knew a guy like that. He was a good friend of mine. Good friend of mine. He was like, I think he was like 6'4". 6'4". This guy was like a fucking Yeah, he was just like a yeah. I guess he had model looks. He could have been a model. I guess he could definitely have been a model, a male model. But man, this guy was sucked with women. This guy had no game. This guy is like blue pill as fuck, and yeah, he just punched. Like he got with some women, but man, he used to punch down. He punched way fucking down. Um, Titch MBD says, "What's up, Mac? Nice work with the consistency of the stream. Work has me busy, but more time to prepare. Good stuff, man. Good to have you here." Um, yeah. So, Titch says, "Can we get some tips on how to grow taller? We're struggling out here." Thing is, the thing is, obviously, you can't change your height. I mean, you can wear basically, you can maybe add a few centimeters with your footwear if you wear like a something with a bit of a heel on it. But obviously, you can't change your height. So the cold hard truth is, you have to, if you're like lacking in the height department, you have to make up for that in like in other ways like fashion, fitness. You have to have see, it's just, it's not fair. Like, it sounds, oh, it's not fair, oh, it's like it's easier for guys that are taller. Yes, it is. It is. What do you want me, like, it's just, we don't, the world we live in isn't fair. It's not a fair world. Nature isn't fair. But yeah, you have to make up for it. um i remember um I was out with a girl one time, and I saw this guy, and he was kind of like, he was iced out. He was wearing this nice suit, and I was like, that guy's dripping. He was wearing like this like diamond chains. I was like, oh, that dude looks pretty fucking fly. And but the guy was like short. He was pretty short, but he was like pretty stylish. And the girl said to me, I'll never forget it, because it was so kind of red pilling. And she was like, yeah, he has to dress like that because he's short. I was like, oh shit, yeah. I was like, and she was like, yeah, short guys have to do that. I was like, okay, well, I guess it's kind of true. Bit of a cold hard truth. Like, he had to put in that extra effort. I mean, he didn't have to, but I guess he wanted to. Like, I mean, he wants to be he wanted to be appealing, more appealing than because when you're short, you do have to make up for things, because girls do like taller guys. It's I didn't make the rules. I didn't design females. I didn't um I could go out and say, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, height doesn't matter. But actually, it does. Unfortunately, it's not fair. But what are you gonna do? Like, I mean, you're gonna complain about it, or you're gonna do something about it. But that's the cold hard truth. Like, if you're lacking in some way, you try and like level up in that area. Obviously, you can't really. There's only so much you can do to level up your height. You can add a few centimeters with your if you wear a shoe with an extra few centimeters on the heel. Obviously, you're not going to wear fucking high heels as a man, but you can maybe add a few centimeters. But yeah, I mean, you just level up by dressing really well, being jacked. Like, if you're short, you have absolutely no business being fat. Like, you've no business being fat anyway. But if you're short and fat, like, you're fucking up real bad. Like, you're fucking up really fucking bad. But Daniel G in the house says, "Hey Mac, thanks for all your amazing content. Broke my 1.5 year long dry spell thanks to you and MLD. All the best, brother. Good to hear, man. Good to hear. That is good news. Yeah, 1.5 year dry spell. That's pretty. That's pretty rough. But I'm glad to hear it's been broken. Yeah, I mean, it can be rough if you're going that length of time, because it's like it gets harder. the longer you go without sex, it's kind of just you start to build up that the stink of desperation, the stink of thirst off you, and yeah, it's not. It can be a difficult rut to get out of, but once you get out of it, all it takes is one really to turn the tides. You know, turn those tides right round. You know, it takes just one girl, one good lay, and that's it. And she doesn't even need to be that hot. Like, you don't even need to get with like a super hot girl to like start the ball rolling. You know, I'm one of these guys that says, you don't need to get with the like 10 out of 10s all the time. Like, I've slayed a few dragons in my day, that's for sure. Oh man, I've definitely slayed a few dragons that I would not be proud to be seen with. That's just the cold hard truth. Very, it's not so much these. Definitely not so much these days. These days, I'm killing it with game. Like I'm killing it with game. I don't need to punch down. But yeah. I mean, back in the day, you got to slay those dragons. Like if you're starting off, it's gonna, kind of got to figure things out. You got to figure game out. You got to, you know, maybe not, go for, maybe don't go for gold right from the start. Because like if you go for gold right from the start, you're gonna like I don't know, you're probably gonna fail a lot more because you can't, you just need to kind of build up to that shit. You need to build up. You need to figure women out. You need to figure them out. You're not gonna figure them out from like, hopefully listening to me, listening to content like this is going to help you, give you that extra benefit, that little bit extra. But you're really going to figure them out from getting in around them, being around women, being on dates with them. Not by not being in the friend zone with them. But even being in the friend zone, you would learn just by being around women. Even if you're getting friend zoned by women, which you shouldn't be, but it's better than not being around women because you're gonna learn. You learn. You'll get red pilled by getting friend zoned by women. Um, Titch says, so Mac, as a tall boy, how do you feel about short chicks and tall chicks respectively? Um, I mean, I'm 185 centimeters. I'm above average. I'm not super tall, but you know, it's about 6 foot one. It's not. It's definitely above average, but it's not. When people say, "Oh, you're so tall," like sometimes Japanese people say, "Oh, you're so tall," it's like I don't feel tall. I feel slightly above average. I mean, it's not like I'm pretty happy with my height. I think it's a I think it's a good height to be regarding being successful with women. I think because 6 foot one, it's not too tall. Sometimes I see guys that are like, sometimes maybe it gets to a point where you can be too tall. Like I sometimes I see it in Japan. Some guys that are like ginormous, like 6'7", 6'8", and it's like I think at that level in Japan maybe it might be a bit of a cock block because you actually get to a point where it's like you're too big. But yeah, but short chicks and tall chicks, how do I feel about them? I mean, it's more about the shape. It's not about size. When it comes to women, when it comes to my preferences about women, it's not about their size, it's about their shape. Obviously, I don't want them to be ginormous. I don't want a fucking ginormous bitch, right? But I don't want a big like over like obese woman, but like yeah, it's more about the body shape, like how, I don't mind a curvy woman as well. Like a curvy woman is all right. Like if she's a little bit chunky, but like if it's in proportion, if she has really good proportions, if like the thing that turns me off about women, like my preference is if the proportions are off, like the shape is just not right. Like if she's like her ass is kind of flat or the biggest turn off for me, I think, about one of the biggest turn offs. Obviously, there's a lot, but one of the biggest turn offs for me about women is if they're top heavy. When I see a top heavy woman, it's like it's she's really not my type. It's just really don't. I find it very unattractive when a woman has like really big tits and then it's like really misshapen, like terrible ass. It's like, damn, that's just looks awful to me. I would rather like a like a I don't titties are just extra for me. Like they're just the extra. Like of course I like them, but they're just like I don't care if a chick has a perfect ass and like tiny small tits. I don't. That's fine by me. That is fine by me. Obviously, it's nice if they're bigger, but all the action is in. Let's be honest. All the actions around the ass. Like that's where the pussy is. That's you want to fuck her ass. That's where the ass is, dude. I don't know. The whole all the legs too. Damn, I love a chick with nice legs. That is fucking sexy. Um. Uh. Warrior Son of Wander says tall girls give the best hugs. Yeah, well, um, oddly enough, in Japan, like I'm tall for being in Japan, but it's really bizarre. Like a lot of the girls I hook up with, like I sometimes I see really hot tall girls, and I try and approach them, but it's very strange. Like a lot of time, I'll have more success with the really petite girls, and it's weird because I'm tall, so I thought I should have more success with the taller girls. But tall girls in Japan have a seriously big ego, a really big ego. Um, People say that tall girls are easy in Japan because there's not that many options for them, and it's like I find it's the opposite. It's like no, they get this really big ego because they think they're special. Especially if she's tall and good looking, she'll be really like she'll have really high guard and really yeah she'll have a big ego. Let's just put it like that. It's I've been with some tall hotties, but I've noticed that it's harder. Like it is harder. Um, Definitely. Titch says you're in the 6 foot club. Yup, that's tall. Okay, okay, okay. Would you date a chick with hair shorter than yours? I mean, I'm not looking to date chicks. I'm kind of banging chicks and spinning plates, but um, I I maybe I don't know. It's more about. I've seen some hot chicks with. I prefer longer hair. I'm more attracted to obviously longer hair, but I've banged some chicks with like short hair. I remember I banged a chick with like she was like shaved, like it was shaved. It was like a centimeter, and she was hot. Like she had a killer body. I don't know. It's just kind of a bit of a novelty thing to do, but she had a sexy body. She had like some. I'm not a fan of girls with too many tattoos, but if they're kind of bespoke, just a few, like some sexy, just a few, like very, just a little bit, like few tattoos. This girl had like a few tattoos. I remember she had one under her tit. It was some bullshit, something bullshit written in French, but it looked sexy. I gotta admit. Um, and she was like, she had just had shaved. She looked kind of good. I guess it looked kind of stylish, but yeah, in general, I prefer girls with long hair. It's hot, especially really. I actually like girls with really long hair. Man, I remember saw this girl, like this girl with like she had braids, like just this like one long braid. I don't know what you call it, like a ponytail, but it was like right down to her ass, and she had this like amazing ass. God, you see such fucking hotties in Tokyo. It's ridiculous. You see so many different styles, different types. It's just awesome. Titch says, "I'm a legs guy. Need to be able to clearly see the ankle bone. That's it. I'm need to be able to clearly see the ankle bone. That's a deal breaker. Um, what's a deal breaker? Seeing the ankle bone. Um, yeah. I mean, girls. I like girls, but yeah, I'm also a leg guy. So I'm a leg guy. I'm an ass leg from the waist down. Titties, like I said, titties just extra for me. Like they're just extra package. They're like bonus. If she has nice titties, great. But the real boners come from seeing a girl with nice legs. That gets the boner popping. Like that's the boner popping shit. You know. Goddamn. Yeah. Like a girl with a nice ass or like yeah, short skirts as well. Short skirts, long legs, high heels. Boner territory. Boner territory indeed. Um, a 6 foot tall chick usually wants a 7 foot tall dude. Yeah, 6 foot tall is pretty huge for a chick. Um, yeah, 6 foot tall for a chick. She's probably yeah, it's hypergamy, you know, hypergamy. They want bigger, they want better, they want all this bullshit about equality. Oh, we all men and women are equal. Women are boss bitches and just as strong as men. That's disgusting. I don't want to be with a boss bitch just as strong as me. That's fucking disgusting. That's an anti-boner. Who the fuck wants that? No, we want feminine, hot, soft, beautiful, sexy, smooth women. Yeah, chicks, you know? You don't want these boss babes, like these fucking obnoxious Western chicks. Fucking loudmouthed, like confrontational, obnoxious, in your face, like like always looking for trouble. How is this How is this is like I don't know. It's clearly, I believe it's pure. I don't know. It's cultural warfare. It's like it's just a way to. It's all a part of it. It's a depopulation strategy. They're trying to make men and women hate each other in Western countries just so that we don't reproduce. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. Like men and women are just we just dislike each other in Western countries. Just pure animosity, dislike. Um, you're just making the sexes repulsive to each other. Men are becoming as repulsive as the women are. Like I'm not out here just shitting on women all the time. It's like Western men are also becoming repulsive shitheads too, getting fat and being beta males and sitting at home and being white knights and being simps and just being little backstabbing twerps and thinking this is going to get them laid. It never does, and they never wake up. It's fucking hilarious. Fucking idiots. I'm so glad I got red pilled. I'm so glad I woke up to the reality of the world we live in. Um, Imagine sitting around like fucking white knighting for bitches on the internet. Um, um, yeah, I mean, it's just funny because I met this guy. Um, I met this guy. He hit me up basically on Instagram, and he turned out to be living in Tokyo. So if someone hits me up, they're living in Tokyo, and he wanted to meet up. He sent me some copy for my website. He was good at writing copy. He just without me even requesting it, he just sent me some copy to make my website a little bit better. And yeah, we met up. It turned out he was a cool guy, and we got on really well together. And he knew a lot about marketing and stuff. So he said, listen, I think I can reach out to some guys and get them help you find like clients for your boot camp. I was like, I mean, I can't pay or anything, but I mean, I'm not gonna, if you want to do it, he kind of wanted to do it as kind of a study because that's what he's doing for, that's what he does. He's doing marketing. And he wanted to try and figure out if he could, get me clients by reaching out on LinkedIn and a few other things. And, he started reaching out, he made, he basically set it up and he had a system to do it. I was like, man, if you can pull it off, like, I mean, if you can find me clients, that's going to be dope. But, I appreciate it. But anyway, he started doing it. It's just, oh man, like, first of all, he tried it with, Mac by linking like to my YouTube and stuff, Mac the Day Gamer and stuff. And like, I kind of knew, like, my intuition was like, I don't think this is gonna work, man. Like, to be honest, because I'm way too. LinkedIn is kind of a more professional. I'm like way too spicy. Like if they investigate my YouTube channel, like if they check out my Twitter or my social media, Mac the Day Gamer is like they're gonna ban me. Like I kind of knew that. I kind of and lo and behold, they did. They banned like within like I don't know a week or something. It was banned, like gone. Like just they deleted the account and he couldn't do it anymore. So the guy said, he was like, okay, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up a different brand, just so we can reach out to clients for this boot, like teaching guys day game in Tokyo. That's what it's for, like for boot camps. This is the point. This is what the guy wanted to help me out doing. And then so he set up another thing. It's called Mac the Coach, right? Just to because he wanted to clean it up because he didn't want to link it to my YouTube or stuff like that because that's way too spicy. I'm spitting out way too many red pills. Like it's like I'm way too blunt. It doesn't work on stuff like LinkedIn. So he set up this like new feeder page or funnel page. Mac the Coach, just to get guys into the boot camp. PC as fuck. No, nothing like wild, very milk toast, just straight up. So he starts reaching out to guys on LinkedIn. Man, it's just it's insane. Like very milk toast kind of reaching out, but it's insane how emotional these blue pill guys will get. Oh, you're a disgrace, you're a misogynist, and you're terrible. Like, how dare you? Like, how dare you do this? And it's like, wow, guys get so fucking emotional. These blue pill guys they get so enraged by, imagine they saw like my YouTube channel, they'd totally freak out. That's why blue pill guys are like, they're worse. I think they're actually worse. No, they are worse. They're worse than feminists. They are worse. They're worse than feminists because they're more, in a way, they're more dangerous. Like they're more volatile. They'll really try and sabotage you or dox you or try and like get you, just because they're so pathetic. That's their strategy. Their strategy is to try and like take you down. Because they want to like, they remove the alpha guy from the equation. They're gonna like they'll have a chance. They'll have a chance with the chick. That's their overall strategy. That's the overall the strategy of the white knight. White knighting and being a simp and all that shit. They think their ship is finally gonna come home. Spark 55 says, honestly, if the red pill were fully uncovered, most Western men would still be cooked, but some might really wake up. Yeah, I mean, it's never going to be a thing where the majority of guys are going to be red pill. That's just not going to happen. I mean, there'd need to be a complete societal collapse in order for that to happen, and that's. I don't know. It could happen, but it's unlikely. The only case where that could happen, where people would go back to the basics and the truth and like the reality of the world we live in, is if there was a complete collapse. Because the only reason women, feminists are allowed to behave the way they are and kind of manipulate men and manipulate the culture and the society is because men allow them to do it. That's the only reason. Like, it's kind of because we built up these reasonably safe societies where women, there's all kinds of just so many different kinds of inventions, like the birth control, all kinds of technology that basically allow women to work and stuff like that. So times have changed. There would need to be a complete collapse, and you'd almost need to get rid of. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Like, a collapse could happen, but I don't know. It's unlikely that there's always going to be a vast majority of society is going to remain blue pilled, because there's always going to be people at the top trying to manipulate the population for profit. And that's basically what's going on. You know, people at the top are manipulating the population for profit, and they're not going to let that. That's the whole thing about the beer bug. It's all manipulation. Trying to get more money. That's all the shit about the climate change. Same shit. The beer bug shit is starting to wane off a little bit, and now they're starting up with the climate change now. And it's like fucking hell. Like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how we can live in these in such a complicated society with all this technology and all these different complications and structures and systems, and yet the vast majority of people are still fucking idiots. You know, just mental. It's nuts. It's nuts that and there's some very intelligent people. There's different forms of intelligences. Like there's so many different forms of intelligences. There's some people that are like genius at maybe they're genius at engineering, or they're gifted in mathematics or something, but they're fucking dumb as shit, dumb as fuck when it comes to common sense. Common sense, there's a big difference. Common sense and just seeing basic truths. And you don't need to be super intelligent to be like red pilled. You don't need to be. You just need to be. You just need to have common sense. You need to think rationally. You don't need to be a fucking genius. Um, but and on the other hand, you can be there's I've met plenty of very intelligent people that are fucking dumb as fuck when it comes to common sense. They're just stupid as fuck, and they believe everything they're told by the mainstream media. And I know people very close to me, like even that very intelligent people, but in some regards, but dumb as fuck when it comes to common sense. Just basic, like just open your fucking eyes. Sometimes you don't even need to go to. You don't need to go to all these stats and all this bullshit on the internet and like, oh, look at this study. Oh, look at here and this. No, open your fucking eyes. Go outside your house and look at the world. Look at what's going on. Are there dead bodies on the streets, or is there fucking hospitals overflowing? No, there's not. Shut the fuck up. I don't give a fuck about your study that's being fucking funded by pharmaceutical companies anyway. So, you know what I mean? Fact checkers. Oh, look at these fact checkers. It's fucking bullshit. Oh, it's just a nightmare. Just a fucking nightmare. Daniel Mendez says they think white knighting will get them laid. Yeah, that's their strategy. Doesn't work. It doesn't really work out. I mean, it rarely works out, and even if it does, it's going to be once in a blue moon, and then it's going to be transactional sex and all this shit. Titch says that was a big theme of last Matrix movie, how the Matrix restarts with fewer people. Some cannot leave the illusion. Indeed. Spark in the House says most people who are in the educational institutions, both teachers and students, are there for obedience, not intelligence. That's it. You don't need to be a genius to do really well in exams either. You just need to study. So it's not a real mark of intelligence by doing really well in school. It just showed that you studied a lot. You could be smart, but it just shows that you fucking learned. You just did what you were told and studied a lot. That's it. That's all it is. Like some of the most intelligent people I know didn't even go to school. They dropped out. They dropped out of high school or they didn't go to college. College is a fucking. I wish I never went to college. God damn, that was a fucking waste of time. That was a hell of a waste of time. Really fucking waste of time. You really, unless you're doing something like in a STEM field or something that you absolutely need to go to college for, it's a total waste of time. Total fucking garbage. But yeah, I guess I'll start talking about indicators of interest and what I think about them when it comes to approaching women. Basically, long story short, when it comes to indicators of interest, I would say the almost all of the women that I end up smashing never even so much as smiled at me, never gave me any kind of indicator of interest, never did any, you know, um, you know what I mean? It's just this idea that women, you gotta wait for to see if she's interested. You gotta try and like make eye contact with her before and make sure that she's interested before you even approach her. And it's like, holy shit, like the thing is like when women are out and about in the world, they're like it's almost like built into their DNA, into their hardware, almost like a survival evolutionary, survival technique, not to give out indicators of interest. It's kind of like, I don't know, I feel that's a hot take. That's just my fucking hot take about it. But, I think it's pretty valid. I think women are just they're not designed to be out here in the world like flirting with strange men, like strange men. But it's our job as men to seek them out. Someone described it like, the egg doesn't swim after the sperm. The sperm swims after the egg. We're the sperm, obviously. We're the sperm. We swim after the egg. Even at the basic, like even when it comes to like just when we're beginning, as humans, the sperm swimming into the egg. We, the sperm, the men, swim into the egg. Boom. We have the sperm. The men have the sperm. We are the ones shooting the sperm into the egg. So we're like going after women from like the very start, like the fucking start, you know. Um, and that's just the way you have to think about it. Because women are out. Let's see. Yeah. So women are out there, and they're actually they're trying to avoid being flirtatious with men. And it could be a thing that you might even be her type, but she's just not really. Women aren't thinking like men, like they're not thinking like us. We can't relate. We can't try and when we're trying to understand women, we can't be thinking like thinking they're the same as us in any way, shape, or form, because we have our biological imperatives are just different, just totally different. We're waking up as a healthy man. You should be waking up with a sack full of sperm and ready, a loaded gun basically. And you're thinking like, how do I get laid? That's kind of what you're thinking at a base level, at a base instinct. Obviously, there's more going on in your life. Well, there should be, right? Obviously you've work to do, but you're still kind of like, it's in the back of your head all the time, right? You're thinking, how am I going to get laid? Even if you're not consciously thinking about it all the time. Women don't operate like that. Women aren't going around, thinking, how am I going to suck some dick today? Like, how am I going to I gotta, go out and fucking find a guy to suck off today. They're not doing that. They're not thinking like that. They're just not. They're just not as horny as men. Like women are like switches. Like they have to be turned on. They can operate like kind of on stealth mode, just rolling around like with they can go about their business like unhindered by sexual drives. Men get fucking hindered by it gets in their way of work. It gets in the way of production if you're thinking about sex too much. In a way, that's why the Muslims are so based, because they kind of understand that women are very much a distraction in the workplace, because they're we'll end up wanting to fuck them, and it's really hard to work. It's really fucking hard to work. Like if you're in a work environment with a really sexy woman, And she's wearing, especially in these in American Western workplaces where women are boss bitches, and they're, women are allowed to wear whatever the fuck they want, and they're allowed to wear tight ass little skirts, and just, oh, it's like, oh, she's just doing it to because she wants to feel good. She's not doing it for the attention of men. It's like, okay, regardless of whether you're not doing it from the attention of men, you're still, when women wear provocative clothes, it's very distracting for a straight man. For a straight male, it's very distracting. It's very hard to work. Like, it's very hard to do work. Like, if you're in an office space with a chick that's wearing this little skirt, and all these women, all the Western societies, it's such a gynocentric society where if there was a workplace where a woman was like wearing provocative clothes, and any kind of manager or male made a complaint, the guy would be a sexist. He'd be a misogynist. He'd be a terrible man. It'd be just like, even though it's fucking like, just so, it's so obvious. It's so obvious that it's a distraction. She shouldn't be doing it. It's not appropriate. It's one of the differences, because I worked in schools in Japan, and like when I'm I've obviously met a lot of female teachers, and female teachers. The thing about Japan is, like, the female teachers don't show any kind of curve or shape. Like, they'd never ever wear like cleavage, show cleavage, or show legs, or anything like that. It's all just kind of baggy like pants and stuff. It's like very non-sexual. But I remember, when I was in school, like, I remember back, like, man, when I was in secondary school, high school, holy shit. Like, looking back, it was like, holy fuck, these dirty bitch fucking teachers. They wore some of my teachers in my secondary school, we call it secondary school, high school, secondary school. They wore the most out fucking outrageous, like, sexually provocative clothes in a fucking high school. Like, if you switch the tables, like, and a male teacher wore some sexually provocative clothes in an all girls high school, like tight, really tight jeans, or so, I don't know, like open, showing his chest or whatever, he'd be lambasted. He'd be taken up, and fucking, maybe he'd be I don't know, he'd get sexual misconduct or something. But female teachers can get away with it. I remember it's just, some of my teachers wore the most out fucking outrageous clothes that would, like, it used to drive us nuts. Like, I remember I had a history teacher, you know, holy fuck, that dirty bitch. I won't say her name, but that dirty fucking bitch. She used to wear these, like, skin fucking tight, like, I don't know what to call them. They were pants or whatever, but like this kind of silk material. It was like silky material. It wasn't even jeans. It was like this silk. It was like she was naked. It was like she was fucking naked. It was so tight around her ass, you could see her ass crack. It was ridiculous. It would drive us nuts. We was going. She wasn't even that hot, but we were just all, you know, going nuts because we're teenage boys and we're fucking freaking out because this bitch is wearing, like, she, on top of that, she used to wear high heels, like, not high heels that literally a chick would wear to a nightclub. She wore high heels and these, like, skin tight silk fucking pants. You dirty bitch. On top of that, she used to wear, like, sometimes she'd show cleavage. Insane. If a Japanese female teacher did that, it would be insane. She would get fired. She would be like, she might not get fired, but she'd be taken up immediately in front of the principal. The principal, what are you doing? Like, what are you wearing? Like, how dare you wear this to school? Like, how dare you? It's like, you're going to distract the boys. I mean, why are you wearing this to a school full of boys? It's not appropriate. It's distracting. That's why, like, Japan is very, very fucking based in a lot of ways. Like, it's a lot. They would call that out, and if the woman then started saying, "Oh, you're a misogynist," they'd be like, "What the fuck are you?" Well, they wouldn't use that kind of language, but in more polite language, they would say, "What the fuck are you? Who are you calling a misogynist? You silly bitch! Like, you're fired. Get out. Don't come back." Obviously, not. They'd be much more polite about it than than that. But in different words, they would say that. But it's just the Western society is just such a fucking, such a fucking mess. It's such garbage. We don't acknowledge reality in Western society. Let's just say that. Spark55 says, Mac, do you approach groups of girls? And if so, what's some advice? Well, I mean, the thing, I've said it before, fortune favors the bold. I mean, it is harder. I'm not, listen, when you approach the more girls you approach, the bigger the group. I mean, ideally, it's always one girl that you want to approach because that's the most straightforward, less likelihood of cock blocking, etc., etc. So, ideally one girl, next two girls, three. The difficulty increases with the amount of women there because there's more chances of cock blocking. I'm not saying, oh, never approach girl, like when there's more than one girl, you can do it, like, but I'm just saying it does make it harder. It's because there's more eyes on you. There's more chance for the other girls to cock block, discourage her, stuff like that. So I would say don't overthink it. If you're gonna make the approach, just approach, and try and like focus on the girl that you want to approach. Talk to her. There's all this bullshit. All these fucking long-winded ideas where, oh, you should approach the ugly one and then make your way to the hot one, and then eventually you'll do all this complicated, overthought, time-consuming shit like that will just take ages, right? And just like the worst thing you can do when approaching girls is like overthink it, um, because it's just there's no time for overthinking this shit. Just go and approach. But what I would say is approach the girl that you want to smash ultimately, and you know, be nice to her, open her, and use whatever opener you're going to use, and also engage a little bit with the other women as well. Don't just like single her out. Like kind of be, if there's two girls there, it depends on how many girls there are. If there's a big group, you don't have to engage the whole group. But you know, I mean, if there's two girls, you kind of open with the girl you are interested in, and then you kind of include the other girl in the conversation, and then ultimately you shoot for the contact of the girl that you're interested in. You don't have to shoot for both. Yeah. Konbanwa. What is up? YT510. What is up? What is good? Konbanwa to you. Yeah, so when it comes to when it comes to IOIs, indicators of interest, I don't get, most of the girls that I'm interested in, they don't give me any indicators of interest. On the other hand, funny enough, whenever girls do give me indicator of interest, a lot of time, like, it doesn't happen that often, but um like it's a thing that, like, say if a girl smiles at me or tries to flirt with me, the weird thing is, like, when I go and engage them and try and if they're my type, and ultimately get their contact, and a lot of time nothing ever happens with those girls, which is really fucking hilarious, because it's like, okay, you're flirting with me, but it's a weird, I don't know why, but it seems to be that way. um but on the other hand, whenever whenever it's a thing where I just go and approach without her giving any signals whatsoever, it's not a thing that, oh, you're just gonna get with her or that you're gonna be successful. But like, there's been so many times where, like, most of the time, almost all the time, whenever I approach a girl, like, she hasn't even seen me. She hasn't given me any indication at all that she wants me to talk to her. She hasn't, like, smiled. Sometimes they haven't even seen me. Like, they haven't seen me coming. So I spot her. Maybe she's looking at her phone, or, she's standing. So she hasn't even seen me coming. So, like, I've gotten absolutely zero indicator of interest from her. However, but that's kind of different from, like, sometimes I observe. I'm not looking for indicators of interest, but sometimes I observe their ultimately I'm just looking for hot girls. Like if she's hot and she's kind of like, out and about, and she's yeah, I'm gonna try and approach her. But if I have time and if I'm in the mood to do it. But yeah, it's sometimes there's signs that a girl is open to being talked to, and that doesn't necessarily mean she's given me in particular any indicator of interest. But say if I've just seen her like across the street and she's like kind of looking at her phone and she hasn't seen me at all, but I can observe her body language and then think, oh, this she's hot. First of all, okay, there's a hot girl across the street, and but I can observe that she's kind of strolling along. She's not like rushing anywhere. She's kind of just looking at her phone, and then that immediately tells me, this girl doesn't have much to do. She's kind of just strolling around, and she might be likely to. She's kind of open maybe to being gamed basically, and a lot of those girls, a lot of the times that I've gotten like same day lays, you know, opened a girl and banged on the same day, is when I've observed girls like that, and I've consciously observed them, like, oh, this girl's like walking along, she's strolling along like this, she looks like she's open, like she looks like she doesn't have much to do, and she's just out, she's just like killing time basically. And yeah, a lot of the girls that like I said, a lot of the girls that I've banged from same day lays, a lot of times I observed that about them. I observed the fact that they were, oh, she looks like she has fuck all to do. And like whenever I see a girl, like some girls are fucking pounding the pavement with like a complete bitch walk, like fucking bitch walk. And lo and behold, no surprise, anytime I ever tried to open those girls, sometimes you get the number, sometimes, but mm, it tends to be that if they're like pounding the pavement, like like they're not running, but they're fucking like they have this like bitch walk, like they're just you know, um, like walking way too fast. It's like if you try even walk beside them, it's like it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable thing to even walk beside them, because it's like you're almost running, and I fucking hate those. That's why I don't do them. I don't. That's why I rarely do them. I rarely do them because they're very annoying to do. It's just a personal preference. It's just a personal. If you're not in, you can't win. But it's just a personal preference, because it's very annoying having to like keep up this pace with a girl, and like especially if they like sometimes it's very annoying as well if they kind of engage with you, but they're not, so they're like you're having to keep up this really ridiculous like pace with them, and like then they blow you out, and it's you just kind of like ran along with this bitch like a fucking idiot. It just got blown out. It's kind of annoying. That's why I lay off girls. I tend not to. It's not that you can't ever have success with girls like that. You can, but it's just like the signals she's giving off, like it looks like she's rushing somewhere. She is rushing somewhere. She's like pounding the pavement. She's like, and yeah, it can be annoying. Um, yeah, obviously other signals when girls have like a real bitch face when she's walking. She might not be running or anything. She might not be walking real fast, but she'll be walking along and she kind of have this like pout on her face, kind of ugly, like just this yeah bitch face basically. It's like, okay, this girl doesn't look like she doesn't look like she's gonna be personally anyway. Those kind of girls are not my type anyway. If a girl has a resting bitch face, it's not very attractive anyway. But sometimes they're hot. Let's be honest. They can be bitchy, but they're still hot. But yeah, it just tends to be if they're having that resting bitch face, you know, chances are they're going to be bitchy when you try and open them. To be honest, um, just YT510 says just joined IOI. Big smiles, big eye contact, asking personal shit, being really polite. Japanese girls. Um, Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, Japanese girls will a very good IOI. I mean, that's after you open them. We're talking. I'm talking about before indicators of interest before. So don't wait. I'm what I'm saying is not to wait for indicators of interest before you approach, but indicators of interest after you approach them, after you open them. I'm not talking about them. That they are important. Yeah, they are important. So don't let's yeah, that's just to clarify that. Yeah. I'm talking about before you approach, but obviously it's important. It's really important to be able to understand indicators of interest like after you approach them because you don't, and that's something that you get really, really good at with over time. Um uh yeah, it's just something that you it's just something you get really good at. Like the more women you get around, the more women you've been with, the more success stories you've had. Um, you know what I mean? You kind of you start to put two and two together. Like the more girls um you start to like put connections together. Okay, this is what happened when this girl, I got her number, got her number. You start to connect the dots, and you're like, okay, all these girls had these similar kind of reactions or similar behaviors. They're obviously not all exactly the same. It's not like they're not all robots. They're not all like, it's not this formula. It slightly varies. But what I'm trying to say is you get really good at like figuring this out over time. The more women you've been with, like as in like when you open girls, like right now, I pretty much like I can tell like instantly if I'm not going to have any success with her just by like just the vibe in the air. I'm able to read the air. Um, but then on the other hand, I'm able to tell, okay, there's some possibility here. Just like uh, let's see, like YT510 says, big smiles, eye contact, asking personal questions, being really polite. Yeah, this is Japanese girls, but these are some indicators that she's like happy that you approached her. She's happy that you're talking to her. Um, indicators that she's not happy or there's not much of a possibility. Obviously, if she ghosts you, ignores you, yeah, that's very obvious. But sometimes there's also she'll still engage with you, but there'll be indicators that she's just fucking wasting your time, or she's just being polite, or just kind of talking to you for the sake of talking to you, just maybe to make it less awkward. Um, you know, One of the biggest indicators that a girl is like not interested in you, like you can just tell immediately, is if she doesn't like have any kind of smile. Like there's a zero, like she might answer you, she might talk to you, but there's zero smile. Like a lot of the time when I've ended up like, you know, being successful as in A to Z, like approaching the girl and having sex with the girl at some later date, there's been some kind of smile, like on initially, like immediately, like it's a really important one to remember. Like, and it's very simple, but it's like if the girl you approach, the girl that you open, doesn't even fucking smile even a tiny bit, she's not that pleased that you're approaching her. Like, I mean, it's not that you have to just quit. Then you can try dig a little more. You try and continue the conversation a little more and try and see, like, figure it out. See if there's anything there. Um, but yeah, generally it's something you should definitely look out for, like some kind of smile, even a little grin or anything. Um, but yeah, the main moral of this episode is to how stress that you should never be waiting, like standing, like waiting for girls to give you some indication, as in giving you directly some indication that she wants you to approach her. obviously you should look out for you obviously look out for hot girls that you like, you think are attractive and that you want to approach. But even better than that is like observing, like, okay, is she kind of like, is she like strolling along? Is she kind of, does she look like she has nothing to do? You know, you know, these kind of things just can make your success rate go up higher. But ultimately, it's basically a numbers game, really. It really is numbers game, stacking the numbers, and the more numbers you get, the less emotional you'll get as well. Because if you're just like banking on like one or two girls, and you're really trying to solidify some dates with them, and then they flake on you, you're gonna be fucking raging, like, and you're gonna like you might unnecessarily burn bridges with the girls that flaked on you. Like, there's different levels to flaking, but some girl might tell you like a few days before, "Oh, hey, sorry, I'm work, something came up, I can't meet you." And then you'd be like, "Oh, you fucking bitch, you flaked on me," and and then she's gone then. And then, when whether whereas if you had like other girls in the pipeline, you'd be like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, maybe some other time then." Then you can come back to that girl at another date. Um, you know. So it's just, you always want to be, you never want to be putting all your eggs in one basket with these chicks. You really do not. You just don't want to be doing that. Like, you want to be banging as many. You don't really want to be banging. You want to be banging a bunch of hoes. Like, you want to have a bunch of options. Um, that's it. If you want to live the player lifestyle, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm absolutely killing the game. Like, it's it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm banging some of the hottest girls. I'm 33 years old. I'm banging some of the hottest girls like every year as I get older and older. I'm banging hotter and hotter girls. Like, just keep leveling up. It's just crazy. I don't know. Like, recently, like, I've been banging girls that, like, I don't. For me, it's like they're, for personally speaking, I see them as tens, like, because they tick all my boxes, and I'm like, they turn me on in every way, that they have all the things I like in all the right places. And like, there's some really like gorgeous girls that I've banged recently. And you know it's just, that's because I just apply, all the things I've learned all over the years. um Titch says there are also fake IOIs, that big fake smile, or when she pretends to be keen. LFA made a dope video covering it. Yeah, there's that too, for sure. Yeah, you really want to be able to read like genuine desire. Yeah, that's a good point you made. That's a very good point. There are some girls that will be very fake, very kind of exuberant. They'll be a little bit excessive, and sometimes a little too confident. Like, sometimes you'll approach a girl, and like, I'll be kind of taken aback by how responsive she is, and how like she's responding with way too much confidence. And like, it's like, okay, this is suspect, because you know that can be quite yeah, it just basically just fake. Some girls just do that to try and maybe get rid of you, and they're just trying to do it. That's their method. That's their method of doing it. That's their preferred method of doing it, by pretending to be interested. And whatever, like, who cares? Just stack the numbers, basically. um don't invest too much. At the end of the day, if you feel like it's not going too well, if you feel like, okay, she's not interested, or she's kind of engaging, she's kind of, you know at that point, anytime I feel like, okay, maybe she's engaging with me, but I don't feel too much from it. Sometimes, to be quite honest, these days, because I have such an abundance mindset, sometimes these days I'll just say, okay, have a nice day, and I won't even shoot for the line. But I think guys that I won't even shoot for the contact. But I think guys that are starting off, like, if you haven't gotten laid in a while, like, and you're you're looking to get laid basically, and you know, some guy sometimes I would always say you should at least shoot for the contact, because there are times that chicks will throw you a curveball. You think, okay, she didn't seem that interested. Maybe it's on the fence kind of thing, where you're like, she was engaging, but there was something a little off. But then you get the contact, and she comes through, and you have sex, and so you never really know. Like that's one of the things that keeps game kind of exciting. Well, very exciting, because every girl you approach, like, you never know what could happen. You never know what it could lead to, basically. Um, yeah. So, um, you know, you really do not. Um, but yeah, man. I mean, cold approach is king for me, man. Cold approach is absolutely king. Like, I could never dream about the kind of girls that I get with from cold approach are like, I just, you know, I, I will say I haven't put in like all the effort I need to. I hadn't, because I'm not using dating apps right now, but I hadn't put in like 100%. I'd say I'd maybe done 55 to 60% effort into my dating apps. Um, and I got a few all right girls, but like, compared them to, like, if you stacked up my online, like, lays with my day game cold approach lays, man, they're two different categories. They are two different categories. Like, um, yeah, like, I mean, yeah, but I have all the receipts to last me a lifetime. But yeah, it's not they're not really something I put out. I can't be putting out just girls' faces on the internet, obviously. But you know, if if you saw some of they're like model faces with stunningly hot bodies, and they're like, these girls are like 21 years old and just like fucking hot. Like, um, Epic Madness, LOL, says, did a cold approach at a calf yesterday. Wasn't feeling with her, so I didn't ask for the number. Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on where you're at, but I would say if you're gonna go for the if you're gonna make the effort to go for the approach, you might as well, like, if you want to keep it casual, just go for the Instagram. You know, if you don't want to give too much props to her, go for the Instagram. Just since you made the effort. I know I said like that sometimes I don't do it, so I'm not. I'm just saying, because I do genuinely have an abundance mindset, but so I do have plenty of pussy. So there's kind of levels to this game, like I said. But it might be a thing where you have abundance too, and if you do, good for you, man. Um, so yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, when you have abundance, you can, like, you have like more power, you have more sway, you can do things like that. If you've like a bunch of girls lined up and a few regulars and all this, like, you can approach a girl and be like, you don't like her vibe, you can just like say, okay, have a nice day, and see you later. Um, that's it. When you have that abundance. Um, when you don't have that abundance, it's kind of like, you might as well get the contact. You might as well, because, like I said, you know, there are some curveballs, there are some exceptions. You know, I remember there was this chick. One that comes to mind is I was in a cafe with a buddy of mine, and he approached this girl. She was sitting at the table next to us, and he just he opened her, and she gave off all these like kind of disinterested signs, and she was honestly kind of a little bit bitchy and a little bit condescending. And I thought she's kind of wasting she's kind of wasting his time. He's putting it. But anyway, long story short, he got her number, and he ended up smashing her. Like, he ended up banging her, like, real like straight up. She came right over to his place and they fucked, like, and he showed me the receipts. So but so there's always, even he was surprised, even because he does game as well like me. So even he was like, oh yeah, that girl kind of was a little bit of a curveball, that bitch. Because she seemed a little bit condescending, a little bit bitchy, a little bit like, you know she was like, but I don't speak English. I don't, it was just, she gave off all these things like, but well, but you're better off, just to get the contact. Um, anyway, so yeah, guys, been going for a bit here. As usual, you know, uh, check out the links in the description. Um, if you're interested in joining my community, which is growing, um, you get access to blog. Let me just share a link. Uh, yeah, you get access to a private blog. You get access to a Telegram group and a monthly webinar held each month. So yeah, once you sign up here, you get access to that. So if you're interested in joining a day game community, a community dedicated to, mastering the art of cold approach, which is, honestly, it's just the best way. I can't think of a better way to meet the hottest women. Unless you're famous, or you like, yeah, basically, unless you're famous. If you're famous, then yeah, probably dating apps and social media is probably better. But still, I mean, still, cold approach is just king, man. Can't stress it enough. Cannot stress it enough. Like, if I could share the girl I hooked up with last night, if I could share her, like, the receipts I have with her. Yeah, sometimes I do in the Telegram chat, but obviously it, has to be kind of, But anyway, that's for the private content part. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining. I'll be back on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So join in the chat. Check it out. Um, Ask me questions. Send me an email. Join my subscription. Join my community. All that good stuff. So until then, guys, have a good one. Peace out. Bye bye.